Good evening and welcome to another edition of The Swimming Pool. It is SWIM, S-W-Y-M. That is the acronym for Say What You Mean. It's important that we say what we mean. My name is Travis Bridges, and of course, I'm going to tell you why it's important that we say what we mean. Because it cuts down on confusion. It cuts down on so many other things that create catastrophes even. When people either don't speak to each other, they may fuss or they may fight, or it just creates distance in life. So saying what you mean, meaning what you say, is one thing. There's another part to that. Not only saying what you mean and meaning what you say, make sure that what you said is understood. Make sure whoever you're speaking to is understanding exactly what you're saying. Oftentimes it gets crossed up. I am 100% convinced that most of the problems we have are directly related to not necessarily being clear with what it is we're saying or how we're saying it, and stuff like that. Anyway, I do have a guest that's standing by. There's something different about this particular broadcast is going to be different. My guest, this is what I called, okay, you pick the topic. So my guest is going to pick the topic. Something weird about it is this. I don't know what the topic is going to be. So it's going to be a surprise for me because I believe in not shooting the messenger, as in not worrying about who the guest is or what the topic is. It's talk about talking. Talking can be anyone, anything, for any reason. The idea is to talk and be clear. Listen. Hear what you're saying. Hear what the other person is saying. Know what they mean. Make sure they understand exactly not only what you said, but what you mean. It's very important. Sometimes if you have good communication and you are clear with someone, you don't have to go back and correct yourself or make things clear. Sometimes you don't need that. But when you do, especially when there is a problem, like someone is either upset or they're not clear or they're not comfortable, it's important to either leave the door open or open the door yourself for someone to come back for clarity if necessary. So with that being said, I'm going straight to the phone. I'm going to jump right on with my guest, and then we're going to see how this works out. By chance, if you'd like to chat with me, I'd love to chat with you. TravisBridges2 at AOL.com is how you can reach me. So send me a message and we'll go from there. Whether you talk to me about it or you tell me to talk about it. Whew. Oh, I've got some different stuff going on in the studio too, by the way. I'll tell you about it. Hey, good evening. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Not bad at all. Just want you to know you are live on SWIM. SWIM is the acronym for Say What You Mean. It's important that we say what we mean. I just had a little intro with my audience, and I explained to them that this is a special edition wherein the guest gets to choose the topic. So I let them know that I have no idea what you're going to say, what you're going to talk about, but we have a set amount of time that we're going to use, and we're going to just talk about it. It's talk about talking. It doesn't matter who the guest is. It doesn't matter what the subject is, as long as we are clear when we hang up the phone or part ways. Do you understand that? Do you have any thoughts, views, questions, or comments before we get started?
Sounds great. I'm looking forward.
Okay. Well, by the way, it's not necessary that you say your name. We try to stay away from titles, brands, locations, anything like that. If by chance you say something and we have the opportunity to edit, we will edit that. But we try to stay away from particular names or events. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SWIM again. My guest is here, and she is going to tell us what the topic is. She is, of course, going to allow me to facilitate, but she is going to call the subject. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. The subject/topic is?
The subject is friendship.
Friendship?
Friendship.
Okay. This should be okay. For some reason, my heart was beating and I got myself all worked up for nothing. Maybe this will be easy. So when we talk about friendship, I'm going to say a friendship is a relationship between two people or more people. So you could have friendships, or you could have a friend and be in a ship. But for the sake of this conversation, a friendship is where two people in particular may know each other and they may have certain things in common. there's different kinds of friendships, of course. So are you going to just speak about friendship in general or a certain type of friendship?
I'm going to ask you some questions about the topic. And the first thing I want to ask you is, in your life, what does it mean to you to be a good friend?
Oh, wow. This is getting easier about a second. I'm waiting for the hard part. Okay. What it means for me to be a good friend is to, first of all, be loyal and accountable. That's very important. It's hard to find that in friendships, but if you do have someone or you have friends that are loyal, they are accountable and dependable, trustworthy, I think that's the beginning of a good friendship. Hope I answered your question.
I like that. I think it's hard to find those qualities in people in general. So when you do find them in a friend and you are able to be that towards a friend, I think it's a great quality. My other question was...
Okay, by the way, before you answer, if there's something you want to expound upon, I don't know if I answered the question or if I gave you the answer, the correct answer or the answer you were looking for. If we need to discuss it, I guess that'll develop. But before you go to the next question, if there's anything you want to ask me about what I said or why I said it, I'm open to it. If not, then I'll go ahead and wait for you to go to the next question.
So when you say to be a good friend means to be accountable, what do you mean by that? Can you give me an example of that?
Means accountable as in if you say you're going to do something, you do what you say you're going to do. If you're for whatever reason unable to do that, you make yourself responsible. You make a phone call or send a text or send a passenger pigeon if you have to. But just to leave someone hanging is not good business and it's not good friendship. So being accountable means that I can depend on you. You can depend on me. You don't have to worry. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I left a letter for a friend of mine to mail something one time, and I came back. It was 2 weeks later, and it didn't get mailed, and it was in my friend's car. And she was like, "Oh my God, I forgot." So it cost me, and that's a whole nother story, but that was just an example. You know, if you say you're going to do something, you do it. If by chance you fall short, you don't make that person, eat whatever that cost is. You go out of your way to make sure that you take responsibility for whatever you may have fallen short on. So again, I hope I'm not speaking too much, and I hope I answered your question. So just being reliable, dependable, accountable.
That's great. I like that. My other question.
Okay, take your time.
Have you ever been in a situation where a friend has changed your life or you have changed theirs? And if so, how?
Without thinking, I'm just going to say yes right off the bat, and I'm going to speak for myself. I try to be a positive impact on not just a friend, anyone that I encounter. This is going to sound crazy, but it just happened now. So for my family and friends that know me, don't get on me for this. I went into a store just a few minutes ago, very important. And when I drove up, I saw an elderly lady standing outside. Okay. And I sat in my vehicle because I was returning a message. And I sat there for maybe 10 minutes just waiting. Okay. When I got out of my vehicle to go in, this elderly lady had gone inside, and I saw her again. So I nodded like, "Hello, ma'am." And then I went on to the back to do what I needed to do. I was there for maybe 10 minutes. Then I came out. Then I saw the lady outside, and I said, "Ma'am, are you okay?" Because she just was standing there. She looked, like she was struggling. And she said she was trying to get, Uber, and she couldn't get it on her phone for whatever reason. Long story short, I offered her a ride, and she accepted. And I said, "Okay, no problem, ma'am. I have a little time. I don't mind doing it." Now, that would be crazy because of the stories you hear, but I try not to be afraid and try to, stay prayed up, so to speak. And this was an elderly lady. She needed help. She couldn't get her phone to work, and she said she was going, in the direction. It wasn't going to cost me anything. So that's one example of how I try to make an impact on people that I don't know. long story short, I told the lady if she ever needed a ride anywhere, I gave her my number. I said, you call me. If I'm available, then I'll help you. So with that being said, I'm just trying to stay focused and answer the question. You got to be careful with me. I give sometimes a little more information unless you stop me.
It's great.
But yeah, I think
listening.
I try to make that impact on everybody's life. It's not always like that, and it doesn't always happen to me, but that's an example. A complete and total stranger. By the way, her name was Miss Faye. She's from Jamaica, and she was an older lady who's in nursing because we chatted on the way there. And who knows, I may have a new friend. She was a sweet lady, and you never know. So yes, as far as I'm concerned, I try to make that impact. And yes, occasionally people will do the same thing for me. Not often. I think I'm usually more of the giver than the one who receives that kind of response. Did I answer your question? Say yes.
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
Okay. So far, so good.
It's great because you never know when you show kindness to a person. Sometimes it's just a moment in time and then they go along their way, and other times you really can connect with someone and, they become a friend or part of your life, or you don't even realize what an impact you may have had on them.
Now, that could have gone left either way. If I had been up to no good, I could have done her some harm, or vice versa. She could have easily pulled something out of her purse and let me have it. And you can't think that way. I mean, you always want to be cautious, and that was probably dangerous for both of us. But, you can't live life just being afraid and never trusting anyone at all. You have to be cautious. But I'm glad it worked out that way, and I felt good. I felt like I did something good because, if it was my mom or someone and someone was going to help her, I hope that, someone would be sincere in helping her. But anyway, we can move on.
I agree. It's important to be careful and safe and all that, but also to remain open and not to become too jaded in this crazy world.
Right.
I was curious, have you ever accidentally offended a friend or deeply hurt them? And if so, how did you deal with it?
I'm going to say off the bat without thinking, I'm going to go ahead and say yes, because it has happened to me, and I'm sure it has happened, and that's just part of, what I'm learning about my own personality. I tend to be very firm and direct, specific, and sometimes that can be taken the wrong way. So yes, I know for sure that I have, come across in a way that probably offended someone. And the only thing I can do is what I do with my live stream. I leave the door open to make things right. By the way, any of my listeners that's listening now, any of my family or friends, if there's anything that I may have done knowingly or unknowingly, the door is open if you want or need clarity. I wish that door was open to me, because there's a whole list of people that I would probably be on the phone calling. But yes, to get back to your question, yes, I'm sure that I may have offended someone, but I've never, that I'm aware of, offended someone and then just shut the door and just totally walked away. Even some of people that would be considered not so good friends, that door always remains open. And I think that's the only thing you can do, is just be willing to make amends with whatever situation you find yourself in, whether you you offended someone or not. Yes.
And to just acknowledge it and gracefully apologize or try to remedy is always a gracious thing to do. Do you have any friends that have dramatically different or opposing views than you do in sensitive topics like religion, culture, or politics?
Okay, ask that question again, because I heard something. I just want to be specific, when I answer. Go ahead, ask it one more time for clarity.
So, I think that socially, people are drawn to people that are similar to them in general. And I've found in some of my friendships that the people that are very, very different from me in their beliefs, whether it's their religion or their political beliefs or their culture or the way that they grew up, just very, very, very different. I've always been open to that, even though I may disagree with some of those beliefs. I've had really good friendships with people who believed things that were very different from me, and I felt that we both grew as a result, just learning about the world through a different lens. Do you have friends that are drastically different from you in your beliefs? In your core beliefs, your core values?
I'm not going to say in my core values, but one of my very close friends, I kind of joke with her, and I'm going to make sure that she's listening, because I kind of say, you never take my side, and she says, well, yes, I do. And I'm like, well, I don't think so. So I don't think the core beliefs are totally different that I can think of right now. I wish I had, time to think of anyone that I know, especially a friend that has totally different core beliefs. But for the most part, there's one topic, gosh, I hope I don't get myself in trouble. Let's see how I can say this without telling what the topic is. We have different views about a particular topic that I just, oh yeah, right. So this is a different core value. So yeah, oh man, I'm kind of nervous about talking about it. Yes, I do have one friend that we have totally different, views about. So you don't want to know what that topic is, what that view is, do you?
I do. What? I do, and I'm very, very hard to offend, actually. So
no, it's not offensive. I'm just saying it's a sensitive subject. But I guess now that you've got me out here, I may as well dance. The music is on. I think tax law. Oh my God, I already said it. I can't take it back. I have a friend who totally differs from me in terms of views on tax law as it relates to taxes. How taxes are, collected, and how, different people pay different taxes and different tax brackets and stuff like that. So when we talk about it, and we have different views, because she actually wholeheartedly just totally supports and believes in every tax law that there is, has been, and or will be. And I have a different view than that. So we kind of get into it. So as it relates to that, gosh, I hope I don't get myself in any trouble with that particular subject. But yeah, this is one of my closest friends, and we have different views as it relates to tax law. Don't get me wrong. I do abide by the law. I do abide by tax law. I just struggle with it sometimes. So there you go. That was tough. Whew,
I thought that was very, very neutral, actually. That was neutral. That could have been a lot more. Yeah, that could have been a lot more. Could have been a much more sticky topic.
Well, there are many. I mean, maybe I always like to ask all of my guests, as long as it hasn't been too painful to thus far, will you come back? Because this could be another subject. Things that you differ with friends that you have. So can I ask you right now and get you on record saying you will come back at least one more time, within the next year to be on my live stream, and that way we can talk about another subject, that one in particular?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, absolutely. I hope you're not out of questions. Do you have more? Because then we can move on. Do you have more questions?
I do.
Oh, good. Goody. I like questions. Go ahead.
So my other question is, have you had friends that were closer to you than family, or were just like family to you?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, as much as I love my family and as close as I am to my family, I think I interact with some of my colleagues a little more than I do with my family. As a matter of fact, one of my brothers that I knew, not a blood brother, just transitioned, a week ago. We were very, very close, and he was just as close or even closer than my own brothers. I kind of even get choked up even talking about him right now. He was the brother that I never had in the two brothers that I do have. So yes, I do have many people that I find just as close, or maybe even a little closer. I don't want to say closer, but just close in a different way than my blood family. So I'll just say yes to that question.
Right. Well, I'm sorry for the loss. That's a tough thing.
No problem. Thank you.
Have you ever reconnected with a child friend that you lost contact with later in adulthood?
Oh yeah, quite a few, and I think that's what social media does for us all today. I don't know how we made it long ago without cell phones and some of the technology that we have, but there have been many people that I've been able to connect with that I totally lost touch with, that I still find or discover on social media today. So that question would be a yes, and I guess if I need to, I can name a few. But yes, I've reconnected with people that I haven't heard from or seen in many years.
So childhood friendships have a special type of magic to them. Did you feel that that was still there? Did it retain its magic for you, or was it a different flavor because we're adults now and we've had experiences in life and everyone's changed so much? Or did it feel like sort of similar, the same?
Well, I'm thinking of one of my friends right off that I recently, not recently, well, a long time ago, connected with that I haven't heard from in a long time. I don't think we're ever going to lose the magic that happened, particularly from my childhood. I'm thinking of one of my childhood friends that I keep in touch with over social media. Have not seen him. Man, I'll bet you it's been 25 years I haven't seen him. But we touch bases, we talk, we chat over the phone, quite a bit. But when we talk on the phone, it's like we're kids out playing on the playground. But we're 30, 40 years beyond when I even last saw him. I had one of my friends on my live stream that I haven't seen in about 4 or 5 years from childhood, and he was on my live stream just a few weeks ago, and we just kind of chopped it up a little bit. Of course, we're adults. We have different responsibilities and different lifestyles at this point in time. But yeah, we can relate to when we were kids. We even talked about it a little bit, and it was kind of cool and interesting, to have that as a conversation. So yeah, I would say yes, it's the same. Now, on the other hand, there are people that I see that I haven't seen in a long time, and I kind of look at them and I can see where they have made a turn for the good, bad, and the ugly. And I say bad, not meaning bad as in, I'm better than anyone else, or bad is not, but I can see where people have taken turns that may not necessarily have been favorable based on my ability, to see. So I don't want to say anything bad, or ugly about someone, but yeah, as I see people that I haven't seen in a long time. I see some people, they say, "Well, you look good," and then some people say, "I'm not sure. You look like you had a pretty rough time." And again, I feel guilty even making that judgment or even making that statement. But some people look like they've, been through a lot. So yeah,
Right.
tough subject, tough topic, tough question. But go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think that that's being judgmental. I think it's you observe. You gather information when you're with people, and if you're intuitive and you're observant, then you do notice things like that.
Yes.
I don't think that's necessarily judging someone, being looking at them, assessing the situation, and kind of reading where they might be in life or where they may have changed. You don't really strike me as overly judgmental. Who is your closest friend in life at the moment? And do you have a closest friend, or does everyone is it kind of come as you are, and or is there a special person in your life?
The moment you started talking about friendships, I thought about an incident that happened a couple of years ago, just recently. I was speaking to one of my friends that was my closest friend. I was saying, well, this person, is my best friend. And then the other friend was like, well, you mean your best friend? So I was like kind of caught in this situation. It's like, okay, I've got to clean this up because I didn't mean that the way it came out. Fortunately, I got the opportunity to clarify. And what I said was, I have a close friend, and I have a best friend. I think my best friend, who also transitioned recently, was like a best friend, but then I had a closest friend. My best friend is someone that I could go to at any time for any reason about anything. And, she would always be there. We were almost like family. And again, like I said, she transitioned recently, and that was another situation. But one of my closest friends that I talk to more frequently, yeah, we're cool, and this is the person I was telling you about that I say never take my side. How can my closest friend never take my side? Why do I feel that way? But I know in my heart, I believe she cares about me genuinely, just like a brother and a close friend. But I kind of get frustrated with her sometimes by not seeing things my way. It's not until I go down on my knees and just go hardcore, and she said, oh, now I see what you mean. I'm like, oh, it took all of that. But yes, I do have a friend that's really close to me. And when I say close, we're not like, two peas in a pod. But I do know if I reach out to her, she'll be there, and vice versa. So yeah, I have maybe one or two really close friends. And then I have some colleagues that are really, there for me that I can definitely depend on. And I'm that way with some people too. So not a gang, because I'm I call myself an introvert. I'm a loner. I'm by myself most of the times. But yeah, there you go.
Wow, an introvert. So I think that society puts a lot of emphasis on socializing and being out there and going out and doing things with people. Do you think that is kind of overrated?
I don't understand. What is the question? Do I think what is overrated?
Sometimes it feels as though the normal thing to do is go out all the time with friends, go out often, spend your weekends doing things with your friends. And I view it differently. I think it's a little overrated.
Okay. Okay, so you're asking me to. Okay, yeah. I don't think it's overrated or underrated. There's some people really do need to get out. People have different personalities, and there are some people that just must be in the streets, so to speak, for lack of a better word. People just have to get out. They have to socialize. It's just how they get their thing on. And no, I don't think it's overrated if that's what you are into, if that's your thing. That's how some people, get their jollies, by actually, going out and socializing. So no, I don't think it's overrated. And I'll just go ahead and speak for myself. As a musician / entertainer, I provide services where I have to be out in front of people. So when I'm working, I kind of get 2 for 1. I get to socialize a little bit in that I can, share my gift, skills, and talents and be in that arena where it's a social setting. But then when I'm done with working and I'm home, I don't want any parts of that. So no, I don't think it's overrated. If that's your thing, get out, do your thing, have fun, be careful, be safe. If it's not your thing, sit home on the couch like me and go nowhere.
I hear that. I hear what you're saying. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is the best way to meet new people and make new friends as an adult?
That's going to be a tough one for me. But since we're, on this family show, and I've got to have an answer, I'm going to say, I think when you're nice and kind, you kind of draw people to you naturally. It may not come as fast as you may want it, or even in the way that you want it. But I think when you're being yourself, you're always going to attract sometimes, who you are. There are many ways, there's, dating apps, there's friendship apps, there's event apps, where you can go, and, go to social functions, where people are, doing different things. But I haven't had much luck with this. But, just being who you are, like the lady today, I was just being myself, and, I met her, she's a super senior citizen. She's probably in her late 70s, if not, 80s already. She was a sweet lady, but I met a friend. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't looking for it. And, we switched numbers. If I see her again, bless her heart. If not, then that's cool. And that just kind of happened that way. But in my mind, I'm thinking, gosh, man, I wished I could meet people. I wished I had people to hang out with, because I am a loner. And although I like being by myself, I'm comfortable in myself. sometimes I would like to chat with someone or talk to someone, or maybe even have, company occasionally for coffee or something like that. But I don't get that. And I think the best way is to just be yourself. And I believe, what's meant for you will be for you. And when that time comes, it happens. I just kind of want to expound on something else. When you feel like you don't have something, then that's when you struggle. I don't know. That's a good question, considering it affects me directly. And I hope I'm not rattling too much, but let me try to get out of this hole I'm in right now. I think if you're content with where you are and who you are, what's meant for you will come to you in the time that it's supposed to come, whether it's friends, whether it's a significant other, whether it's a job, opportunities, different things. What's meant for you will be for you if you're doing whatever it is you're supposed to be doing at the time you're supposed to be doing it. But, in many cases, and I'm guilty of it, I'm always looking. I'm hoping I find someone, to chat with or talk with. And that's when I don't find it. When I'm doing what I was doing today, just being myself, although I don't hang out with senior citizens too often, I at least met, a nice person, and I was able to have an impact, a positive one. So sorry for talking too much, but you asked a question and you didn't stop.
No, you're not talking too much. I think that's wonderful. I think it's actually a very healthy perspective. And I have seen many times in life when we push too hard for something, it doesn't come. But if you wait and you're open and you're just sort of ready to receive, the Bible says there's a season for everything, and then in the right time, the right people come into your life if you're just sort of open to it while you're doing your own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
there you go.
I think you have a very healthy perspective on it, actually. I think that's great.
Yeah, well, there you go. Okay. Moving right along. What else you got?
I'm actually out of questions.
Already? Well, we're almost out of time. And, since you're out, I don't know if you have anything else, to ask, but I do want to say thank you for this. My audience, if nothing else, gets to, know a little bit more about me. I don't talk about me too much. It's usually a subject or a topic, and I'm talking about, what comes out of that. But this was fun to have my guests, pick questions. For some reason, I thought it would get a little more intense. I thought we'd discuss some of these, and we did. It just, kind of ended up where it is. And I'm honored. I'm grateful. I thank you. I know your time is valuable. Again, my reason for doing this type of, broadcast, podcast, live stream is I just want to bring awareness to how we listen and how we hear. It's kind of therapy for me. Nobody pays me. I don't have fancy sponsors. And yes, I do have a personality that I hope, shows through. And I hope people will be attracted to that, as well as the message that I'm trying to bring awareness to. And in closing, paying attention to how we listen is very important. I don't know of anyone else in any other social media that is doing it. If they are, then I'm welcome to be allies with them and bringing awareness. It's important, to be on the same page. Too many times people don't talk. People are disturbed. People are having, situations even from childhood eat away at them and even cause, sicknesses, because they don't deal with certain things, childhood traumas. Even jobs. People leave jobs years and don't understand, well, was I fired or did I quit? What happened? To get closure, and while I'm saying this, I had someone I was speaking to the other day. They said, I'm just the opposite of that. I don't need closure. When I shut the door, I'm done. I don't even care anymore. And that's a personality type, and I don't want to knock that. I think most people, although they can say that, closure is good. Closure is healthy. Closure gives you a peace of mind. And if nothing else, you should be able to walk away from a person or a situation and at least be at peace and be able to sleep at night. So hope I didn't rattle too much on your show, but I think bringing awareness to how we listen, how we hear, how we walk away from the opportunity to express ourselves is very important. And it's healthy. You're not going to solve all problems all the time with everyone. Sometimes some things take longer than others. Sometimes, people, as they say, it's an oxymoron to me to agree to disagree. So some things just may not be settled, right now. But just being open, optimistic to it, and, having your soul, at peace is very important. And you can't do that unless you talk or communicate or at least be open to it. So there you go.
Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity to chat with you and to get some wisdom, and I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Okay, so now I don't know when we'll get the opportunity to do it again. Hopefully it's sooner than later. But then this was a special edition. I do this only every now and then. But the next time I'm going to pick a topic, and maybe it will be more like what the swim is about, because most of the times I have a topic and I get into it pretty deep. So you promise to come back soon, and we'll have I'll have a topic, and then I'll have questions for you.
Absolutely, would love to.
Okay, on that note, I'll let you go. Thanks again. Have a beautiful rest of the day, evening, week, and month.
Thank you. You too.
All right, take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, there you have it. Yet another successful swim. Say what you mean. This was a special edition where my guest got to pick the topic, and I thought it was cool, and I kind of enjoyed that. I got to answer some questions that I thought were going to be hard, but they were not hard. I'm just being transparent and as sincere as I can, and it worked out pretty good. With that being said, take really good care of yourself. Remember, if you'd like to chat with me, I'd love to chat with you. Travis Bridges 2 at AOL.com is how you can find me. In the subject, just put whatever the subject is, and then let me know if you'd like for me to talk about it as a subject or a topic, or if you would like to just be my guest and talk to me about it. I've been saying that and keeping that generic for a long time. I don't get too many requests to talk or subjects to talk about, but it's a foundation that I'm setting up, and at some point in time, I believe I will have an email full of people who don't mind talking and want to just share, if nothing else but for therapy. I've got some technical stuff going on here. You may not be able to hear it. I'm starting to use my lapel mic so that this mic can take a break. Wow, this is my call from my tech guy. So, hey, I'm going to let you guys go. Have a good night. Love you. Take care. Find somebody you need to say I love you to. Don't just say it, but show it, okay? Till the next time, have a good night.